Hey everybody, Graham L with the Political Vigilante here in downtown Los Angeles. There's an anti-war rally right now in front of, this is City Hall. I got my yellow vest on. So we're gonna go, it's just a little after 6 here. This rally just started a little while ago. I took the train down. It was organized by the Answer Coalition. And we're going to go get some interviews and talk to some people. Just so, as I understand it, Iran retaliated yesterday. According to the United States, no Americans or Iraqis were hurt. Trump was saying stuff today about, oh, we're standing down or whatever. I don't know. But they've deployed 3,500 troops are getting sent to the Middle East right now. So they're going to try to ramp this war up as much as they can. And Trump, who ran on an anti-interventionist campaign, is 100% full of shit.
What do we want? Hands off Iraq. When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
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 It's that if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? U.S. out. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
U.S. out.
When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
If we don't get it?
Shut it down.
If we don't get it?
Shut it down.
And if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
If we don't get it?
Shut it down.
Again, it means so much. Give a round of applause to everybody here tonight. People of Iran here actually have hundreds of thousands in the street begging for the U.S. empire to take their greedy, bloody hands off of the Middle East and off of everywhere around the world. I'm going to give it back to the end to Mike Reisner.
I think many of you saw videos and images of thousands of U.S. troops going to Kuwait, going to Iraq as part of a surge that is nothing close to a de-escalation. I know you all saw those. I want to hear everyone make noise right now if you have ever had a family member or friend or loved one join the military, serve in the military. Make some noise. So that's a lot of people. That means when they start a war, it's people that look like you and me. It's our family, it's our friends. Well, let's look at who's starting the war. First of all, look, Donald J. Trump, right? He's a billionaire real estate investor. We got any billionaire real estate investors in the crowd here? No! Our Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, the man who yesterday declared that we don't want to start a war, but we're prepared to finish one. He's threatening to nuke Iran. You know his job before he was Secretary of Defense? Vice President of Raytheon. Do we I don't know, is there any vice presidents of Raytheon in the crowd here right now? Anyone have a family member who's the vice president of Raytheon here in the crowd right now? You know who the Secretary of Defense before him, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, you know what his job was? He was the CEO at Bowman, or Brother Bowman. Anyone know any CEOs of Boeing in the crowd here? No! You know the Secretary of Defense before him, under the Obama administration, he was the CEO of an oil drilling company. Anyone own stock in an oil company here? No! Anyone sit on the corporate board of a defense contractor here? No! Right, when the rich make the war, it's our friends, it's our family, it is us that we sent to die. That's why we say, no war for Wall Street, troops home now!
No war for Wall Street, troops home now!
No war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall Street,
Troops home now!
no war for Wall
Troops home now!
No war for Wall Street!
Troops home now!
All right, next I'm going to introduce the speaker, Pastor Q from Black Lives Matter. Please welcome Pastor Q. Sisters and brothers, when I say sisters and brothers, you say right on. Sisters and brothers, we are here today standing on the ground soaked with indigenous blood. I don't think you heard me. I said we're standing on the ground soaked with indigenous blood. And the blood is crying out of Iraq. No more blood. We are standing on the ground soaked with the blood of Africans. All the money they're spending on war was created and generated by the engine of cotton. Come on, y'all. And if the money comes from Britain, it's sugarcane. Oh, I wish I could preach right now. Yes. They wouldn't have money to kill us, so they kill us to make the money and use the money to kill everybody else.
Tell the truth.
That's why Muhammad Ali said, I ain't got no problem with no Viet Cong. That's why Dr. King said they got money for war, but they can't feed the poor. And that's why Tupac repeated it and said they got money for war, but can't feed the poor.
True!
And I say they got money to kill people, but they ain't got money to feed people. And being that I pastored a church when I was in Skid Row, where I watched people die of hypothermia, I know what I'm talking about. There's a war on us. 3 homeless people die on the streets of Los Angeles every single day. But they got trillions of dollars to go kill people.
That's bullshit. Yeah, fuck that.
What are we talking about here? Listen, one of the presidents of the United States, former president of the United States, Jimmy Carter, said in the 242 years of America, of the United States of America, we've only had 16 years of peace. We've been at war all the other time. And they tell us that China is a communist country, therefore we are more moral, but China hasn't been in the war as much as we have. So I'm here today to say this. No more money for wars. We need education, and we want it free. Because it's our tax dollars anyway, so it ain't free. Don't use our tax dollars to kill more people. We want health care. We want housing. When do we want it? Now! 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 And we want all U.S. troops back home. You better take care of your own backyard before you go to somebody else's house. Your house stinks. Our house stinks, and I can smell the wretchedness. So we need to get our troops to come here to America, put down the weapons, forget about the LAPD as well.
Fuck the LAPD.
They're not militarized. Don't send, don't take our money, create all of these weapons, all of your insurgents, and then pass it down to the LAPD so they can continue to oppress us. We're not having it.
Fuck that.
Power to the people.
Power to the people!
Power to the people.
Power to the people!
Power to the people.
All power to the people.
Thank you, Pastor Q. Give him another hand for Pastor Q. Now let's go back to these lies being told by the Trump administration. Lies that unfortunately many of the Democrats are also following and expelling from their own mouths. Is that right?
Yeah, so true.
War is a two-party game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a game for them because they both serve the rich class. Is that right?
Yeah.
We've gone to Iraq through Democrats, through Republicans, through Democrats, and through Republicans.
True.
Like Pastor, you said, this country was born on war.
Yeah.
Every moment of this country's history has been a war on somebody.
True.
Whether a war on the African population that they brought here, chained, and killed for 400 years.
That's fucked up.
The indigenous people whose land we step on right now.
True.
And then they took it global. They took it international. And it's easier to name a country that has been attacked by the United States than one that hasn't.
Very
Is that
true.
right?
Very true.
Down with imperialism!
Can we stand for that?
Hell no.
But are we going to stand up against that?
Yeah.
I thought so. They say they're bombing for peace. Is that a lie?
Yeah.
They say they're bombing for human rights. Is that a lie?
Hell
They
yeah.
say they're bombing for democracy. Is that a lie?
Yeah.
Because how can you bring democracy somewhere else when there's no democracy at home?
Right. Yeah. No democracy.
When felons can't vote at home.
Right.
When you profile those felons in the first place.
Yeah.
When you have more people locked up than any other country in the world, and then you say most of them can't vote.
True.
This country's never been a democracy, is that right?
Yeah.
It's
Never.
never founded a democracy, is that right?
Yeah.
This country does everything it can to smash democracy.
Yeah.
And that's why we here are fighting for real peace. Peace that means no more of this U.S. empire, is that right?
Hell yeah.
Because no matter how many lies they come up with, what they're fighting for is wealth for their families. They're fighting for capital for their families, money for their families, is that right?
Yeah.
They don't care about us.
They never have and they never will. And the only way we can really get peace, democracy, and human rights is to rip them out of office.
Hell yeah.
Build a people's government.
Hell yeah.
People's power can be realized, and it will in this country.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Every country around the world. Is that right?
Hell yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We say it loud enough that the Pentagon can hear us.
Yeah.
Loud enough that LAPD can hear us.
Hell yeah.
Loud enough that Donald Trump and whatever tower he stands in right now can hear us. I heard he was shaking in his boots last night. They're scared because they know the people have the power. Is that right?
Hell yeah.
Who's got the power?
People power.
What kind of power?
People power.
Who's got the power?
People power.
What kind of power?
People power.
Who's got the power?
People power.
What kind of power?
People power.
Who's got the power?
People power.
What kind of 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 power?
People power.
And in an organization known as the Answer Coalition, they fight for people's power. That means full rights for all immigrants.
Hell yeah.
That means no more mass incarceration. That means peace globally. And to speak about that today, we have Cora from the Answer Coalition. Welcome, Cora. Are you guys ready to show the world where we stand? U.S. imperialist, number one terrorist.
U.S. imperialist, number one terrorist. U.S. imperialist, number one terrorist.
U.S. imperialist.
Number one terrorist.
U.S.
Iranians are not the aggressors in the first place.
Yeah.
The U.S. is the one who is escalating tensions. The U.S. is the aggressor, so they are the ones that should be standing down. Trump initiated this by assassinating Soleimani and bombing the Iraqis on Iraqi soil. This is a violation of the U.S. Constitution and international law.
Right.
This was no preemptive strike. No matter how much the government and the media try and twist those words. This was an assassination of a foreign leader, one who was in Iraq expressly to de-escalate tensions, and which Trump and the Pentagon knew full well was there to de-escalate tensions. But now that the retaliatory strikes from Iran have not killed any American citizens, Trump and the media are portraying the situation as tensions are down, things are de-escalating. However, we know that Trump has vowed to increase sanctions on Iran, which is an act of war. This affects the most vulnerable. This will kill Iranian civilians.
Murder!
This is an escalation. 20,000 troops have been deployed to the region and 4,000 in just the past few days. This is an escalation. The U.S. military has deployed nuclear-armed aircraft to the region, which are now patrolling. This is an escalation. This could create nuclear war and the destruction of humanity.
It's true.
The U.S. has made it clear that it is not going to take its troops out of Iraq and it is not listening to the Iraqi government and the Iraqi prime minister that has voted to have U.S. troops withdraw from Iraq.
Get them out!
But what we've seen in the past week is that as long as U.S. troops are in the region, we are constantly on the brink of war. The tensions escalated in December because a U.S. contractor was killed, and this could happen at any time when U.S. troops are in Iraq.
No more war!
Yeah, but why won't U.S. government take troops out of Iraq? We know why. Because it is profitable.
It's all about oil.
We saw after the assassination of Soleimani that companies like Raytheon and weapons manufacturers, their stocks soared. Oil stocks soared. Okay, this is profitable. And the government, because the government and Trump want to destroy Iran, they don't want us, the people, to resist. They don't want us to see through their racist lies, but we do.
We
demonstrated, we saw this, we demonstrated in 100 cities on Saturday. 100 cities where people said no to war on Iran and U.S. troops out of Iraq. We do this because we realize that the Iraqi and Iranian citizens' interests are our interests. These wars only make sense to the CEOs. These sanctions hurt the working people of Iraq and Iran, and we understand their struggle. And as we were demonstrating here, so are the people of Iraq and Iran, and this solidarity is working. That's right, there have been no more U.S. strikes against Iran. We can see that our actions are causing change. We can see the power of the people united. We must continue to struggle and be in the streets. We must come out on Saturday to City Hall at 1 p.m. on the 25th of January to continue this struggle with Answer. And if you can, please sign up. There are people going around with clipboards to sign you up for Answer. Get involved. We must call for all U.S. troops out of Iraq. We must call for no sanctions on Iraq. We must organize to bring down the U.S. empire and its imperialist war drive. Solidarity with the people of Iraq and Iran.
don't care if people die. Trump, you lie. You don't care if people die.
Trump, you lie.
You don't care if people die.
Trump, you lie.
You don't care if people die.
Trump, you lie.
You don't care if people die.
Trump, you lie.
You don't care if people die.
You lie.
You don't care if people die.
Trump, you lie.
You don't care if people die.
Trump, you lie.
You don't care if people die.
You lie.
You don't care if people die.
Trump, you lie.
You don't care if people die.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a socialist. And you know, every time we talk about something a socialist demand, like free healthcare, like free college education, like forgiving students out, what do they say? They say, how are you going to pay for that? Well, when Trump sent thousands of troops to the Middle East, when Trump launched 400% more airstrikes and drone strikes than Obama did, when Trump started bombarding the entire country, the entire region, Erni threatened going to war that would likely be a World War III, then anyone ask him, how are you going to pay for that? When Trump asked for a military budget that was bigger than ever any military budget in history, and then the Democrats increased his military budget, not only approving it, can anyone ask how they're going to pay for that?
That's fucking bullshit.
They have
bullshit.
unlimited money when it comes to war. But when it comes to things like providing housing in our city, when it comes to things like preparing our communities, when it comes to things like helping students, helping poor people, they have none. And they wonder, what are you talking about? How are we going to pay for that stuff? Well, you know, it's interesting because they say, how are you going to pay for forgiving student debt? You know, I talked earlier about how when they send us to die, they're sending us to die. They're not sending their families and friends to die. Well, you know, the Army hit a record for its recruiting goals last year. More people joined the Army than ever had before. And you know, the leader of recruitment, the general in charge of recruitment, you know what he said? He said, yeah, it's easy, everyone's in student debt. He literally said, because everyone's in student debt, they're joining the military. Well, make some noise if you got some student debt. How many Iraqi banks or Iranian banks are calling your phone in the morning asking for that payment? None. That's right. And so that's why it's important for us to be taking this action. Those of you who were there last week, those of you who are there now is the most important time. You are sending a message, not just to the government, not just to the people of Iran and Iraq, but to every single person who has the ability inside the military and who has friends in the military to stop the war from the inside. And so, you know, Cora mentioned that demonstration on January 25th, the Global Day of Protest, which we are coordinating with anti-war organizations in countries all over the world. Now, people often say, why can't we just build the anti-war movement like it was during the Vietnam War? What happened in the Vietnam War? Well, you know what? In February of 2003, there was a global day of protest, just like the one we're organizing in January. And it was the biggest day of protest in world history. And because of that, so many more people were brought into the anti-war struggle. So many more people in the military resisted. And so what you're doing today, the message you are sending today, is more powerful than you think it is, because it is here for the history books, it is here for the record, and so many people will see what you've done tonight, and it will inspire them to take the steps that you've taken. What do we want? Troops out! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Troops out!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Troops out!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Troops out!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Troops out!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Troops out!
When do we want it?
Now!
I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. You know her as Abby Martin. The Empire Files.
Scary moment, wasn't it? Terrifying! Yeah. The precipice of war with Donald fucking Trump.
Boo!
This lunatic, psychopathic, baby, attention-seeking moron, right? Surrounded by war criminals, genocidal, extremists, people who want nuclear war because they think it's part of the biblical prophecy. Fuck! And the only reason we're not in a full-fledged war right now is because no Americans died, right? No Americans died at these bases. We're bombing people all over the world every single day. There's value in human life. The Empire teams in Iraq? Why are there contractors in Iraq?
We don't fucking know!
Thousands of contractors in Iraq. Why are there thousands of soldiers still occupying Iraq? We've been bombing Iraq for the last 30 years straight.
Get them all out! Get them all out!
It's unbelievable. And the media, you know, seriously, it's all because no American side. But what if they did?
Right.
You'd see the media and the so-called political opposition standing in line to support the new war effort, unified behind Donald J. Trump for the new war with Iran. That's what you would see right now. Quickly they would fold. You see how quickly they fold just to get Dem Soleimani, right? They have to preempt every mealy-mouthed condemnation by saying, oh, well, of course he was a terrorist. Of course he was a bad guy. Responsible for the deaths of thousands of civilians. What are they talking about?
Material!
They have to capitulate. That's what they do. So what's going to happen if something actually goes down? These people are going to fold. There's going to be no opposition to the political establishment or the media establishment. It's going to be up to us in the streets organizing a real political movement. I became activated and radicalized by the Iraq War. I saw how quickly, and it wasn't just because of the Bush administration, I saw how quickly Nancy Pelosi folded. Said impeachment was off the table for a war criminal. Someone who started in Guantanamo, a torture program. Set the stage for this global war on terror that has never ended. I saw how quickly the media folded, sold the propaganda, sold the lies that cost 1 million lives. We cannot afford one more innocent life. We cannot afford one more person, blood spilled in our name. Anti-interventionist, right? They call Trump an anti-interventionist. How hilarious is that? They say he was fighting the military-industrial complex.
Bullshit! That's bullshit!
It's complete bullshit. This guy has expanded empire militarism in every single region of the world. He's surrounded himself by warmongers, neocons, bloodthirsty criminals like John Bolton, Elliot Abrams, Mike Pompeo. He tried to do a coup in Venezuela. He did a coup in Bolivia. Increased drone strikes 4%, double civilian casualties, trying to start a full-fledged war in Iran, and we have to be out in the streets to demand no war in Iran! No peace! U.S. out of the Middle East!
No justice, no peace! U.S. out of the Middle East! No justice, no peace! U.S. out of the Middle East!
No justice!
No peace! U.S. out of the Middle East! No justice, no peace!
Get in the streets and stay in the streets!
Yeah!
Thank you, Abby. So we stood up when they attacked Iraq not that long ago. We stood up when this empire put its hands on Libya, when this empire put its hands on Venezuela, on Bolivia. And we're going to continue to do that every single time, because what we need to realize in the United States is this war against white supremacy is global.
Yeah!
There are white supremacists who attack us when we're on the bus.
At Walmart! Fuck
There are
that!
white supremacists who have bombed black people. There are white supremacists dressed up in judges' cloaks. White supremacists dressed up in
Police
whatever they call those
uniforms!
ugly outfits they got over there. LAPD and the KKK, I don't see that much of a difference, but color
We're fascists!
True.
we gotta make sure that we fight our #1 enemy, which is white supremacist violence. Remember, more people are dying under the boot of white supremacy than killed by any Iranian, any Iraqi. And how dare they say that Iraq or Iran is the aggressor?
Bullshit!
Hundreds of bases owned by this country, and they would dare say someone else is the aggressor. What do they think those bases are for? Other than war. That's the only thing. Misery and war. Murder.
And what we stand here today to do is to fight for peace, to fight for justice at home and abroad, because you can't win one without the other.
Yeah!
So all your friends that you know are interested in some cause here in the United States, environmental justice, anti-racism, reproductive rights, the fight against bigotry. Help them understand that this fight against imperialism is linked with it.
Yeah!
This fight against imperialism is our fight.
Yeah!
And I want to introduce some people who are here, keeping the fight alive every single day, every single week, every single hour. I'd like to invite up Baba Akili from Black Lives Matter.
When we fight,
We win!
when we fight,
We win!
when we fight,
We win!
we win. Your grandmothers and grandfathers stood here to save lives. Your mothers and fathers stood here to save lives. It is your time now to save lives, to save Iranian lives, to save Iraqi lives, and to save American lives. Black Lives Matter LA is about ending state-sanctioned violence in all its forms. Political and economic. And so we are here to save lives. Save them! And end we have spent more money on the military than any country in the world. At the same time, our teachers can't afford to buy homes. We don't have health insurance, and we have the largest homeless population in the country. That is not only wrong, that is immoral.
Yes, it is!
So your presence here today makes that point. Your presence on Saturday and your presence every time you are called will make a difference. Because as we say, when you fight, we win! The fact that we fight, that we stand up, that we demand no more war, that we demand a new economy where we invest in the people and not in toys of war. Your presence here today, our presence here today, sends that message. And for some people who may not be here, they agree with you. We must connect with them and make sure that they support us now. No wars, no sanctions. Hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we won't go!
Hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we won't go!
If we don't go, they can't fight a war.
That's right.
To fight a war. So your presence here, you're demanding no war with Iran. And peace in the Middle East is important. Even if it was just me and you. That would be necessary. That would be enough. So we thank you for being here. Now we want you to also take this fight and end domestic terrorism here with the LAPD. That's an easier battle because it's right here and we can see them. And we know them.
Nazis in uniform! Pigs!
A few hours ago, we were across the street at Jackie Lacey's office.
Jackie Lacey must go!
Jackie Lacey must go!
Jackie Lacey must go!
Jackie Lacey must go!
Jackie Lacey will go!
Jackie Lacey will go!
And one of the things that we want, and we just found out, and you all heard about this, the police lie on us like they do all the time.
All the fucking time!
Every day.
They claim that
we were gang members. They make that claim all the time so they can suppress us, so they can oppress us and keep us occupied.
Bullshit! That's bullshit!
So, your presence here, and every time you stand up, every time you demand an end to war, every time you demand a new economy, every time you demand justice, we get closer to it. So we stand in solidarity with you. And in a few minutes, I'm going to call on you to stand in solidarity with us.
Yeah.
It's not enough. And look here, every Wednesday for 2 years, we have been across the street from 4 to 6. Every Wednesday for 2 years.
Black Lives Matter.
You can join us. Every Wednesday from 4 to 6, you can join us to send a message to Jackie Lacey, the Sheriff's Department, and the LAPD that we will no longer accept being occupied people. We will no longer accept the fact that Jackie Lacey and over 570 people have been killed by law enforcement and she hasn't done shit.
The blood's on her hands.
We are here to support you. We ask you support us.
Black Lives Matter.
Thank you all very much. I look forward to seeing you. Hell no, we will go.
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 Hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we will go.
Right. And you know the thing that they use to make us support bombing people in Iraq, bombing people in Iran, the thing that they use to convince young people, our family, our friends, to go into the military and go fight and die, killing people of Iran and Iraq. You know, what can they do to make it seem like we have nothing in common with them? Because as I said earlier, we have far more in common with them. You've heard it before than the people who are telling us to go to war. The one thing that they have to make us not see ourselves from the Iranian people, to not see ourselves from the Iraqi people, to not identify with their struggle over the struggle of some Raytheon CEOs, and that's racism. They use racism. That is their most powerful weapon. That is their tool. We saw it right after 9/11 when they wanted to go to war in Afghanistan. What did they start doing? They started demonizing Muslims. They started demonizing and attacking all Arab people. Sending the FBI to infiltrate their mosques and entrap young Muslim youth.
Fuck that shit!
Racism that spread even more than it already was in U.S. society. We saw that with the beginning of the Iraq War. The infectious racism that they use, and we're seeing it now. You turn on the news and they talk about things like, oh, they've been fighting over there for hundreds of years. That is racist. And it's not true. And so that is why
Propaganda.
Fighting racism is so much a part of fighting war. Because this country cannot wage these racist wars without racism. And that's why ANSWER and the ANSWER Coalition stands for Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. So now I'm honored to introduce someone who founded the ANSWER Coalition, one of the small group of people who, in the just days after the 9/11 attack, when millions of people in this country wanted revenge, wanted war, wanted to carpet bomb people who are not our enemies, it was the ANSWER Coalition who formed in those moments of progressive organizations all around the country and immediately started organizing against this last 20 years of permanent war that we've seen. So please welcome founder of ANSWER, Preston Wood.
Thank you, all of you, for being here. It's a beautiful sight to see. Mike referred to 2003, when the movement was beginning to take off around the coming war against Iraq. Okay? Very similar today, as Abby and others said, it's scary, right? We all, woke up and we thought about our families and our neighbors and our co-workers and what another war would mean for all of us. And I saw the troops being thrown off one more time. Young people, no clue what's going on. We're going to suffer at the hands of their officer class, who will come back broken if there is a war,
The poverty drive.
facing all the evils of this world we live in. You know, after 2003, in 2003, Answer organized a broad coalition of people to break the blockade against Iraq and deliver $20 million in medicine to the Iraqi people. That's what we're going to do again, things like that. We're going to dare them to try to jail us. There's a number of you here tonight, but there are millions, as Greg said, who agree with you. Who are sick and tired, living in the Trump era, but living in any era when you have to pay for an education. Can you believe it?
Fuck that!
Bullshit.
I work in a hospital. If they can't pay, they don't get taken care of. Can you believe it?
That's murder! Murderers!
How is it a small, parasitical, blood-sucking group of elite billionaires calling all the shots while imposing sanctions on people all over the world? And you know what? They're imposing sanctions on the working class here too. I've been losing your home. They force you to live in your car, and losing your car, and they're living in the street. We all know people who have done this because they lost their job or their rent got doubled overnight. This is a war against the working class, against the poor people, against the most oppressed. So we're going to unite and show them, and you're going to be part of it. The government run by the working class of people who are producing the wealth. They aren't. They're just sitting there in their disgusting palaces, and they have to be taken out and put in jail, and we'll show them how to run society to provide food for children, health care for all, free education, housing for everyone, and there'll be equality, whether it's in Iraq or Venezuela. We gotta get them off our backs, right? Push them back through power by funding organizations that are combat ready, that are ready to struggle and stand for all the things that we know and the things that we need so badly. And believe me, it's in history, it's in the material every day. You see it, and you can see it coming. It's going to be your generation, all of you who are younger, will be the ones who bring light into the darkness.
We stand.
You know what to do with it. All that money, those trillions of dollars for the war, the billions of dollars that these small little group of people who they built their Pentagon up and their police forces, their jails, they've abandoned the schools, they've abandoned everything that stands for what humanity has and should and will have and deserve.
Eat the rich!
But we have to take it by power. We have to take it by organizing. And give up and run. Yeah, keep it scary this week, but people can pour into the street to say no war on Iran. That is a powerful slogan.
No war on Iran!
Let's stand up for the veterans. Let's stand up for the black and brown youth. Stand up for the women. I heard the other lady down the laws every day. The one that really got me was when Mike Pence, that homophobic, anti-war
Fuck Mike Pence!
said that 9/11 was carried out by Iran. What an outright fucking lie! Come out on that. We have to call and tell the truth, scream the truth, penetrate, fight, and keep doing it by getting out of the streets, organizing, getting to the schools and organizing, getting into the jails and organizing. Those are all of our people in there. We'll bring them back into our communities, and we'll do it by taking power. We'll do it by organizing, by fighting for what's right, by being clear and talking to the people, whoever they are, even if they're fooled by Trump's bullshit. You've got to explain to them where their interests really lie. And the struggle, and I've been doing this for a long time, believe me, it's through the struggle that you learn who your friends are. and who your allies are. Whether it's on a pickup line at work or wherever it is, you see who your friends are and who your allies are and who your enemies are. And together, we're stronger than any of them.
All power to all people!
We will go forward from a future where hunger and homelessness become a thing of the past. And the history of the United States will be the history of the working class people fighting for what's right. Not the history of these bigots and politicians who think they're in charge now and smirk and have disdain for us. We'll show them.
Give another round of applause to Preston. Someone's been in the struggle for a very long time, and one thing I've learned is that they lie all the time. Is that right? They lie about Vietnam. I'm asking you, did they lie about Vietnam? Did they lie when they went into Iraq? Did they lie when they went into Libya? Did they lie when they went into Syria? Are they lying right now as they threaten their
They're always lying!
And what we have to understand is that's what makes them weak. That's what makes this empire weak, is the fact that they are built on lies. What this movement has is the truth behind its wings. And it's that truth that's going to shed a light into the darkness. It's that truth that's going to propel us to ending this empire once and for all. Can we get that? And are we going to fight for that? When we fight, we win. When we organize, we win. And another organizer, our very last speaker on the program today, I'd like to announce from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, Ernesto.
For my entire life, the United States has carried a sight in the Middle East, reaping away the lives of thousands. And no matter whether it was a Democrat or a Republican under the hood, the United States has always been the world's Grim Reaper. Now, 31,000 lives lost in Afghanistan, 500,000 Iraqis. How many more? Only God knows how many lives have been lost by the sanctions that the United States launches against the world. The story is always the same. Whether it's North Korea, Iran, or Venezuela, sanctions kill. Sanctions are war. Sanctions are war.
Sanctions are war!
Sanctions are war.
Sanctions are war!
Now, do you all know what sanctions are? War! Is it true that here in the United States, the working class is sanctioned from wealth every single day?
Yeah!
Now, I promise you, if you join Answer Coalition, if you join the PSL, we'll fight this war and any other imperialist war with solidarity and socialism. We're going to build a better world. A world where we don't have to sanction any enemies because the world countries will be our friends. Because there will never be profit in war. Now, who's our enemy? Is our enemy in Iraq?
No! Our enemy's in the White House!
Is it in Cuba?
No!
Is it in North Korea?
No!
Is it in Iran?
No!
Where's our enemy?
The White House!
Where's our enemy?
The White House!
Right here! Our enemy is the ruling class in this country. The rich ruling elite who declares these wars and orders us to fight them. But all of us here today, and in the other 100 cities that mobilize on Saturday, we are a testament to the fact that the American people will never fight, they will never die in a rich man's war. The only war the American people will ever die for is class war.
Yeah!
War against the ruling elite who hoard the wealth of society. War against the Wall Street bankers who want to send us to our deaths in Iran. So if you are interested, if you disagree with the ruling class, if you don't want to be slaves to this capitalist system anymore, I recommend you join the Answer Coalition and you join the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernesto. Let me say up with the people.
Up up with the people.
Down, down, down with Trump.
Down, down, down with Trump.
Up with the people.
Up with the people.
Down, down, down with the war.
Down, down, down with the war.
Up with the people.
Up with the people.
Down, down, down with the war.
Down, down, down with the war.
Up with the people.
Up with the people.
Down, down, down with Trump.
Down, down, down with Trump.
I'm gonna throw back now. We talked about Vietnam a few times. They made a lot of good chants, didn't they? We're gonna say, hey, Donald J, how many kids did you kill today?
Hey, Donald J, how many kids did you kill today?
Hey, Donald J, how many kids did you kill today?
Hey, Donald J, how many kids did you kill today?
1, 2, 3, 4, we don't want no racist war.
1, 2, 3, 4, we don't want no racist war.
5, 6, 7, 8, stop the killing, stop the hate.
5, 6, 7, 8, stop the killing, stop the hate.
1, 2, 3, 4, we don't want no racist war.
1, 2, 3, 4, we don't want no racist war.
5, 6, 7, 8, stop the killing, stop the hate.
5, 6, 7, 8, stop the killing, stop the hate.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
The people united
Will never be defeated.
The people united
Will never be defeated.
El pueblo unido.
Jamás será vencido.
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 When Trump says more war,
We say no more.
Trump says more war.
We say no more.
Trump says more war.
We say no more.
Trump says get back.
We say fight back.
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 Get back.
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 Fight back.
Make some noise for yourselves, okay? Make some noise for the people on the run today. People on the rock today. People who have stood up against imperialism and colonialism every single day. All around the world. And you all have joined in it today because there's not many things we know in this world, but what we know is tomorrow they're going to wake up and they're going to lie again. The next day they're going to wake up and they're going to tell some more lies. Like Kwame Ture said, the imperialists and capitalists, they don't lie some of the time. They lie all the time.
That's true.
All the time. Sounds like they're telling the truth is because they're telling the double lie. How about that? But the fact that everyone is here today, it just shows that you all are not comfortable today, are you?
No.
Are you a little bit disturbed today?
Yeah.
Are you going to stay a little bit disturbed while it's going on?
Yes.
Are you going to keep quiet when they tell you to?
No.
Are you going to sit down when they tell you to?
No.
And it's important that you get everybody that you know in your circle who's interested in any kind of progressive cause. Get them out here next time. Bring them out. Do your best. Bring your family, your friends, your co-workers, your neighbors, anybody that you see. Because together, organized, we can fight and we can win this, right? Stay involved. Stay connected with organizations. How many of you said you weren't in an organization yet? People have never been in an anti-war organization. We ain't here to put you down, we're here to get you involved, get you up. Get you standing up for your rights and for the rights of humanity, is that right?
Yeah!
What we have now is people with these clipboards, sign-up sheets. If you have not already, please put your hand up. Please put a hand up so that someone can find you with these sign-in sheets. Let's bring them to the people so that we can get people organized and into this movement. We have a lot of events that are coming up, and getting on that list gets you connected. We have a teach-in that's coming up on the 11th. We have another rally. The location is to be determined, but it's on January 25th. Mark your calendars now if you haven't already. January 25th, we're going to be right here, actually. We're going to be back here, ready to fight, ready to organize. Hopefully, let's get a couple thousand people here next time. Can we do that? Can we hit the thousands next time? Are we going to bring out all of Los Angeles here? Because we're going to fight and we have a whole world to win. Is that right? Thank you, everybody who came out today. Power to the people. What we call for is no war in Iran. No more troops in Iraq.
No more troops in Iraq.
All troops out of the Middle East.
All troops out of the Middle East.
And we're going to smash imperialism. Thank you, and all power to the people.
So you heard the man there. That's January 25th. If you go to Answer Coalition, they have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and they can they can show you all the ways to get involved. And there's a big January 25th. They're doing a big nationwide, I think worldwide protest like they did the one in 2003. So you got to get more involved. As this gentleman just said, get involved in these organizations. This is how the more people that get involved, the better. As Mike said earlier in the stream, in 2003 there was a global protest for the war in Iraq, and it was the biggest one in the history of the world. And then the anti-war movement kind of fell asleep under Obama. So get involved. That's the best way to do it. So yeah, we'll talk to a couple people real quick. But it was pretty impressive. That everyone's getting more involved, and like there's the DSA is here, and as they said, find these organizations that are near you and get involved, or if not, organize your own, because you read the stream here, you read these people who are like, yeah, war, Trump's great, and they've been all propagandized. It's a bummer to watch working class people cheer on for wars that only benefit the ruling class. It's really ridiculous. So it's disheartening on the one hand, but it also shows you that there's people out there that could wake up to this, because only poor and working class people fight wars. So when people are all like, yeah, war, yeah, I'll sign up for it. Oh, of course, when you're done. Yeah, thanks, brother. So yeah, that's the thing here is 30,000 people a year die because they don't have health insurance. Iran didn't do that. 5.2 million foreclosures happened. Iran didn't do that. Iran didn't contaminate Flint's water. Iran didn't cause the homeless problem that's in Los Angeles and every other city in America. Iran didn't do any of those things. So can I just get a quick live stream with Abby and Mike? How you guys do?
Thanks for coming out here tonight, Graham.
Thank you so much. So what, in the last couple of days, obviously there's been several things. There was the Iran retaliated.
Yeah.
Then the so-called stand down with sending thousands of troops to the Middle East.
Yeah, right.
Since we saw each other at the Saturday rally, where do you think we're at right now?
Well, it was really scary, Graham. As you know, the next couple of days we saw the precipice of full-fledged war, and it was really, really terrifying, I think, to see us on brink of something that could have been cataclysmic. And you know, everyone saying, oh, Donald Trump decided to de-escalate. We all know that if one American had died on that base, it would just give them carte blanche to start this war. And we know that the opposition, the so-called political opposition and the media would line up behind that, because when Americans die, of course, their lives are valued above everyone else in the Middle East, even though we're just massacring people every day around the world. It's very scary to think of what would we see? What would we see? And that's why it's important before they fold, before something does happen, because there's constant provocations going on, war games, troops surrounding them. There's thousands of contractors and troops there right now, and if anything happens to them, it's going to be up to us. It's going to be up to us organizing the opposition.
Mike, and what have you seen just from, because I know you're talking to a lot of active duty and a lot of vets, what have you heard from them just in the last couple days?
Well, everyone's thinking it's all bullshit. I mean, one of the top things I've heard from guys who are in my generation, you know, guys from around 9/11, pre and just post 9/11, when all the people that got sent to Iraq, like I did, all those people I'm talking, they're saying, at least when the Iraq war was starting, they tried to lie about something. Yeah. They tried to make up a lie, but now they're not even trying to lie to send us to war in Iran. Right. It's just like, everyone's like, what the fuck is this actually about? They're not even trying to make up a pretext. I mean, some a little bit like, oh, he killed Americans, whatever, but it's so like haphazard and whatever that, you know, everyone can kind of see right through it.
Well, yeah,
and
I was just going to say, I saw... CNN 3 years ago did a thing about, Soleimani's fighting ISIS, he's a hero on our side. And now they're saying, he's this awful, the number one bad guy.
You know, this is actually something that started being ginned up like under the Bush administration. Iran did have some contact and support role with Iraqi resistance forces in Iraq because, you know, Iraq was being brutally occupied and they asked for help from their neighbors to defend their homes, which were being raided every night, parents being shot for no reason and things like that. So that was entirely justified, but under Cheney is the one who started creating this idea that this one guy, it wasn't just, you know, Iranian influence, it was this guy, Soleimani, who was responsible directly for the deaths of U.S. troops in trying to create a reason for the U.S. to go to war with Iran. And the only reason that the U.S. didn't go to war with Iran under the Bush administration, which would have been under that same pretext that Soleimani killed Americans, is because the Iraqi forces gave the U.S. forces such a beating. The United States military became so bogged down in this brutal military defeat that they were like, well, we actually can't go invade Iran now because we're getting our ass kicked in Iraq. And so it was interesting that the Trump administration, pulled from this old the Bush administration playbook of, hey, let's bring up this thing again. That it was this guy Soleimani, when we know that he was actually there for peace negotiations, reducing tensions and things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I heard that Iran was trying to back-channel peace under the Bush administration, and of course he said no, because we need them as a bad guy. They've had the audacity of putting a country above American oil, and we can't allow that to happen. It's just so preposterous. When I was there as a comedian I was there 04, 06, 07, and 08. In 07 and 08, everyone was like, well, we got to get Iran. And you just look at a map and you see all the bases around, and we've been planning this for decades.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone should check out, in a couple days, we're going to be releasing a new episode on the Empire Files with an interview with an expert on Iran. And, going through a lot of that old footage today, someone who's been to Iran, talked to Iranian politicians, people and everything, over the entire history of U.S.-Iranian relations, is Iran not wanting a confrontation with the United States, wanting a partnership, wanting friendship, wanting to appease in whatever way it's possible to prevent a war, to prevent nuclear escalation and all of this stuff. It's been the United States that has been the aggressor from the entire history of Iran since they stood on their own. When they stood on their own in their 50s, democratically elected a president, the CIA came and knocked them down and installed a brutal dictator. When the Iranian people, in a grassroots effort, rose up and overthrew the US-backed dictator, ever since that moment, the United States has been trying to overthrow the Iranian government. But in the face of all that, the Iranian government has been doing everything it can to reach out olive branches and not upset the United States. And all of these things. And so it's across the board, the United States is the aggressor. And Iran and the Iranian government pose absolutely no threat to our lives. In fact, after Trump, did this horrible assassination, and everyone is bracing for a response from Iran, the Iranian leaders put out an order saying American civilians are off limits, and American diplomats are off limits also. The only legitimate targets are American military targets that are in other parts of the world, not even on U.S. soil. And so, which is a great contrast from our government, which says it's going to bomb Iranian cultural sites, 4,000-year-old, some of the oldest antiquities on the planet. And so if you can contrast, it's like, damn, I wish our government was more like, more like that.
Oh, I know. I mean, all I've heard, the Iranian people are like the nicest people. Right. I saw an interview with a guy who's in the streets in Iran, like crying. Like, I don't want my country to get blown up by. He goes, we love Americans, we just don't like Trump. Right. And it's like, what?
I can agree with that.
And imagine if Iran said, we're going to bomb cultural sites in Europe or here. We're going to take any cultural site.
That's what ISIS does.
Right. Yeah. It's really offensive. So as we move forward, what things can people watching do to get involved and do this? Because obviously this is going to be a long, because look, they started false flagging in the spring.
The Saudi oil.
All that stuff. The drone. Right. They've been. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz. I just call that false flag highway, man.
Yeah.
And there's like, whoop. They're just like the bully that bumps into you and goes, "We got a problem." It's like. So what can we do?
I think this is a big wake-up call for people, realizing how quickly a war can develop and how much on the precipice towards where we really are. And so people should take it as a sign that you don't want to be waiting when another war is starting to be able to try to organize against it. I think this is a good wake-up call for people to kind of become active in the different organizations and events that are happening that is going to stand ready throughout the duration of the Trump administration. And if he wins re-election, of course, we'll have to be extra vigilant as well. But whoever wins, we need to be doing this kind of thing. And so just in this next month, there's some actions people can get involved in. Next Saturday, there's a webinar teach-in that Abby and I are both participating in.
This Saturday, right?
This Saturday. And so you can find out about that at answercoalition.org. You can sign up, join the webinar at your house, or find a local event where people are going to be projecting it. But then January 25th is a global day of protest where anti-war organizations in the United States are partnering with anti-war organizations all across the world for a coordinated global day of protest against what the U.S. government has done, calling for all U.S. troops out of the Middle East. And so everyone should, of course, get involved in the January 25th action. And you can find out about that on answercoalition.org as well.
Okay. Go to those organizations and check out Empire Files. They do amazing work.
Thanks so much, Graham.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So those are the great ways to get involved. I got my yellow vest on, as they said. There's Answer Coalition, there's Code Pink, there's all different kinds of organizations. Start something at your school, get people involved, and wake them up to the economics of this. I think that's the critical in terms of people who are like, oh, Iran attacked us. People, when you hear them repeat corporate media, State Department, Fed talking points that is just the ruling class war machine. Really bring up the facts and the money, and do not let go. This is so critical. Do not let go of the how are we going to pay for it argument. Every time they ask, how are we going to pay for Medicare for all? Say, how are we going to pay for this war in Iran? How much did that drone strike cost? Get the dollars, get the actual dollar amounts. How are we going to pay for this? Why are we going to war in Iran when there's people? Just point it out. When you see a homeless person and you take a photo of it, put it on your social media and go, how come we can't fix this problem? So that's the way we got to do it, everybody. It was cool. It was a last minute thing put together on a Wednesday night, and a bunch of people showed up. So this is what you got to do to get involved. Thank you guys so much for coming down here. Yeah, the Iranians are good people. I said this before, the Iranians didn't take my house. I lost my house to foreclosure. The Iranians didn't take it. They didn't do that. The Iranians didn't lay you off. The Iranians didn't take your job. The Iranians didn't do any of this crap. They're not causing climate change. The United States military is the #1 polluter on the face of the earth. It's unbelievable. The Iranians didn't create the private prison industry. They didn't do any of those things. So get involved in whatever way you can. I'm gonna head out. You guys have been great, and I'm gonna go live tomorrow afternoon in the studio. I think Ron's gonna join me. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna do that live tomorrow at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We had 190 people watching. We had 237 likes. Thanks everybody for smashing the like button. That's always critical. I appreciate, and many of you say it in the stream, and I appreciate that. So Graham Elwood here on the steps of the City Hall in Los Angeles. Thanks for watching. Shave your knuckles for justice. Spread the word. Share, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. The more people that watch the videos, the better. And then, tour dates at grahamelwood.com. Thanks for watching, everybody.